I'm Andy Parsons. I run the Content Authenticity Initiative here at Adobe. And as you know, we oversee kind of three threads of work. One is the CGPA standard, where I sit on the steering committee. That's a global standard destined for ISO, which will make this truly interoperable and international. So we're excited about that this year. Also responsible for an open source effort that continues to gain traction. So this is truly free and available to anyone who wants to implement it in cameras, mobile devices, and software. Notably, we have seen the launch of the Samsung Galaxy devices that have content credentials built in, actually using that open source code. And the third thing we do is get this out to Adobe creators and others. So we're excited this week to be launching the Adobe Content Authenticity web app. And that enables anyone for free, just have to have a free Creative Cloud account, to sign their work. So as you and I have discussed, there are kinds of multiple facets of provenance and content credentials. One is sort of a nutrition label to understand what things are, what the ingredients are, whether they came from a camera or generative AI or some mix of the two. Another important aspect is attribution for creators and organizations. So this week at Adobe Max London, we're launching an app that's been in private beta for many months. We've been working on it in tight collaboration with a cohort of creators who've given us feedback. And today it's available in public beta, which means anyone can use it, again, for free. Enables creators to sign their work with a digital signature. And there are two new innovations that we're launching today. One is a watermark that makes the content credentials durable. So no matter where they go, even if you take a picture of a picture, your content credentials will remain attached to the content. Second is the ability to provide a verified identity. So we have collaborated closely with LinkedIn. You can bring your LinkedIn verified identity to prove that you are who you say you are, attach that to your content credential signature. And then last, this is not new, but has been now well tested and rolls out publicly, is the ability to provide an AI training and opt-out preference as part of your content credential and your signature. And that signals to AI training engines and inference engines that you do not want your content used to produce more content like it. And being in the UK this week, I'm very encouraged at kind of the climate discussions around providing both an innovation economy and also protections for creators and copyright. And I think this week you'll see Adobe well represented in both areas. So I'm just going to show you a very quick demo of this application. It's called Adobe Content Authenticity, launched today in public beta here at Adobe Max London. And as I was saying earlier, this basically does a few things, but a few very important things for creators, photographers. One is it allows them to sign their work using content credentials. So that's just like a photographer or a visual artist or a sculptor, inscribing their signature into a work in a way that's cryptographically solid and immutable. And tamper evident, meaning no one can change the signature or change the pixels of a photograph after this is signed without providing evidence of tampering. Just like a digital signature that's used to secure your browser or your biometrics on your phone, things like that. We have an important ability to ask AI models not to use your content for training. Obviously a very active conversation in the UK and the EU right now around different kinds of training opt-outs for photographers and others. We feel strongly that content credentials is at least one important way, if not the most important way, for creators to have agency in how their content is used by AI models. And basically with this simple setting that's just a checkbox, today we're unrolling it in its really simplest possible form, which is to say, as a photographer, I don't want my content to be used to make more content like mine. And that in general can be done via AI training or inference, which is when someone uploads a sample images and says, make another one like this. Important to point out that Adobe tools, Firefly, of course, cannot do that. It never trains on anything except commercially licensed content that we have through Adobe Stock. That's why Firefly is commercially safe. Other models don't do that, and I'm sure many photographers are, of course, concerned about that. And then lastly, we can look at the content credential. We're unveiling, I should say, a new browser extension for Chrome as part of the Content Authenticity app. And let me just show you how this works. So when you come here for the first time, starting today, you'll see a little onboarding experience where one of the creators that helped us build this will give you, bandwidth is not great here, but you'll see a little video of that person explaining why it's important. There he is. A lot of the topics we just covered. Apologize for the bandwidth here. And then I've already set this up. So these are my preferences for my Adobe Content Authenticity content credentials. And you can have connected my Adobe Behance account, my Instagram, and LinkedIn profiles. And one of the new things that we're making available today is the ability to provide a verified identity via collaboration with LinkedIn, who worked with us very closely on this. And it's the first instance of the verified on LinkedIn API that's commercially in use. Very closely worked with LinkedIn on that. So if I just jump to the next tab in this app, you can see now this is where I can continue to configure my contact credentials. I can see a little preview of what this is going to look like. And in a moment, I'll show you how this might appear on Instagram, for example, if you use this. And I'll just grab some of my amateurish photographs, bring them into this interface. And as soon as I indicate that I do, in fact, have the rights to sign these, I click apply. What's happening in the background here is a cryptographic signature containing all the information I configured in preferences will be applied to these images. And at the same time, they'll be watermarked. So you can see these now have a content credential indicated by that little pin. I can then download these, get a little festive confetti, save the result. And then over here in my downloaded images that are now signed, you'll see if I open this up, we'll see all of those images now with a little CR added to the file name, indicating they've been signed. And then if I bring those into the third tab, which is the inspect area, this will give me a view that my downstream viewers might see on social platforms, indicating that this particular image was photographed on a content credentials aware camera, then signed by me. Here's another one from our latest batch. That is a shot of Adobe Max in the fall, where you and I hung out a little bit. And again, we can see that I've requested that Gen AI models not use this for training, and that it was signed by me, opened, and watermarked as part of this process. And the last thing I'll show you is if I upload these images, here are some I uploaded earlier. Here's the one we just looked at. Even though Instagram doesn't natively support content credentials via interface, because of that hidden watermark that's not visible to the human eye, we are showing this pin, which is actually placed on the image by the browser extension. And then if I click here, see all these images have in fact been signed with content credentials. If I click on the one we uploaded, I can see that little nutrition label that says, in fact, I am the copyright holder in this case. My identity has been verified. These are my social media accounts if you want to see more of my work. And if I click on inspect, we'll come right back to the site I just showed that will indicate that, in fact, I've signed this and it is not to be used for training via that opt-out. So very simple application, we think very powerful and important in this time of AI and creativity coexisting.